The Navajo Tale in the Beginning is brought to you by Not a Prophet org, the place on the internet to find spiritual guidance powered by artificial intelligence. The Navajo have always had white bead, turquoise, jet, abalone, and red shell beads. They are used in all of the ceremonies and are offered as gifts to the gods. First man, first woman, owl man, and owl woman brought them up from the underworld. After the people were on this world, they found turquoise in the ground. When they lived near the big waters to the west, a long time ago, they found white bead, abalone, and oyster shell. Begochiddy wanted to plant some of the things he had created and had planted before, but the gods would not let him. The cotton seeds were taken by first man and planted in the same directions as Begochiddy had done on the first world. The god planted beans, pumpkins, squash, corn, and a red flower called dēchī. When this grows 1 and 1, half feet tall, it smells good and is used for against witchcraft. When you go hunting in the brush and you shoot and miss, and the deer hides behind you, you are liable to get sick and scared. If you spill the small bags in the deer's knee area, you use the game plant, or dēchī, to protect you. Gila Monster planted the tobacco, for there were as many types then as there are brands today. After all these things were planted, all of the other seeds, plants and trees were spread around the earth. After the houses had been made, pottery was coiled. The gods representing the future, Navajo and Pueblos, had their choice of the pottery. 2 pots were offered to the god, one which was beautifully decorated and the other a plain one. Talking God, representing the Navajo, did not reach for the decorated one, but for the plain one. He knew this pot had the stone horse, weaving, turquoise, corn, buckskin, and many other things inside. Calling God, representing the Hopi, reached for the decorated one. This happened at the time the houses were being built. The Hopi themselves claimed the pottery from the ancient Pueblos as belonging to the Hopi, some to the Navajo, and some to the gods who were turned into animals. Some time after this, the various tribes separated and began to look for food in small groups. All came out of the hole and all wandered off, looking for food, except the Navajo who stayed here. The other tribes looked for game animals, seeds, berries, and other foods to live upon. Within a short time after this, much evil appeared upon the earth, destroying many of the people. Before White Bead Woman was created, First Woman and Darkness Lady, Chaxaux Elstroques, were talking together. Every night the First Woman slept with her head to the doorway, and this Darkness Lady would come into the hogan. They talked all night about how they were going to create a person to destroy the evil upon the earth. First man did not know what was being done, and becoming jealous asked, "What are you taking about? You have been talking for several nights." First Woman answered, "We are talking together about creating someone to destroy all the evil upon the earth." He said, "That is good. Go ahead and talk about it." These were the gods who helped mostly in the creation of White Bead Woman. The 2 women talked together for 2 more nights and finally said, "Now it is all fixed and ready to be created." The first man, after he had learned of this, said, "This is fine that you are going to do this. Whatever you wish will be done, or whatever you decided to do about it will also be done." All of the gods had a meeting and decided that all were to create the White Bead Woman, so there would be no arguments about who was to have the most knowledge and who was to take care of everything on the earth. All of the gods got together to form this goddess, for they themselves individually had insufficient power to rid the earth of its evil. Had the gods tried to destroy the evil alone, they would have been destroyed themselves. There were many gods which helped create White Bead Woman, Yuls, is. Talking God, Calling God, First Man, First Woman, First Boy, First Girl, First Maid Coyote, Dawn Woman, Dawn Man, Dawn Boy, Dawn Girl, Evening Twilight Man, Evening Twilight Woman, Evening Twilight Boy, Evening Twilight Girl, Horizontal Blue Man, Horizontal Blue Woman, Horizontal Blue Boy, Horizontal Blue Girl. White Bead Woman was then to be created as the means by which all the danger on earth was to be destroyed for the war. Twins were thus to be created according to a plan. She was called White Bead Woman because she wore white bead ornaments. If Coyote, First Man, Talking God, and the others had tried to kill the evil beings, they would not have been able to do so. All of these gods had equal power in all things, but with White Bead Woman to have the same power as Talking God. All of the other gods had the same power, but different jobs decided upon by the supreme sacred wind. When White Bead Woman was created, all gave their power to her. She had the same type of power as the others, yet they lost no power themselves when they gave it to her. Talking God was an investigator to see that everything went right in the world, and to keep order for White Bead Woman later on. Talking God took his power and gave an equal part of it to White Bead Woman so that she could work with him and share his duties. One God could not keep order in the whole world, so White Bead Woman was created to share in this responsibility. Before this time, women had been running around having intercourse with petrified wood, cactus plants, and men. This was how the giant became the son of the sun, and how mighty eagles were born, who tried to eat all of the people upon the earth. These were loose women who wanted men. There was a girl who had 4 brothers who always went out hunting for deer. These men would bring in the deer for their sister to fix. Their sister would cut out the muscle from the deer leg and tie it to her heel. As she sat and ground seeds, she abused herself with the deer muscle. She never lifted herself up from the ground, and her brothers began to wonder what was wrong with her. They decided to fool her one morning and find out what was the matter. One of her brothers called, "What is that out there? There is something running out there." All of the brothers went outside to look. When their sister got up to look, there was a deer muscle tied to her heel, and so her brothers found out why she would not lift herself up from the ground. That is how the girl became pregnant, and the offspring of this deer muscle developed into the horned monster or hippo. After this, there developed 12 antelope, running around. They came from girls who did the same things. Another loose girl also was lonely for men and took petrified wood and abused herself with this. She, too, became pregnant and gave birth to lonely Yate, so Yeiko, or the giant. After this happened, many giants developed, many Yate, sows. The third girl whittled some sour cactus and abused herself with this. From this was produced the monsters that kill, the people, with their eyes, or just by looking at people. The fourth girl abused herself with a stone feather quill. At this time there were no real feathers, only stone feathers. These stone feathers were, and are found everywhere. The girl found one of these and used it. The reason the girl was abused was because the feather was to be used in the future time by the Earth's surface people. After this, the fourth girl became pregnant and gave birth to the monster eagles. From then on, feathers were produced. After all of these monsters were born, they started eating the people upon the earth. Before the Navajo were created, there lived a people in the cliff dwellings. Before these cliff dwellers there were other people, all of the birds and animals except the horse, sheep, donkey, mule, pig, chicken, dog, cow, and buffalo. Besides these were first man, first woman, first boy, first girl, coyote, and all of the other gods. When things became really bad, the gods decided to get rid of the evil upon the earth, but they needed an instrument to accomplish this. White Bead Woman was the answer. White Bead Woman was made out of white bead, turquoise, crystal seashell, jet, mirage quartz rock, lying mirage rock, XADAXOAESTXIN, red rock, rising up mirage rock, Zadaxoni Yi, gathered water, tall T letter 1EA, FN letter 1EA, if SH Chi, rising mirage getting water, Ni Sti, water's child, TX O acute Biazi Hachek, the 5 kinds of corn pollen and beautiful plant pollen. Near where the gods lived, there was a pond and a rising fog. Over the pond was a rainbow, and all around it was a large mist or cloud, and at the bottom was a bubble. After many years had passed since the ascension to this earth, Talking God went by this pond and heard the cry of a baby. He returned on the 2nd and 3rd days. On the 4th day he went there and found a crystal bowl in the middle of the pond with something inside of it. In the bowl was a bubble or blister of water, which he picked up with a white bead basket, covered it with a holy buckskin, and took it to his home at Seduced. The gods covered the basket 4 times with darkness, dawn twilight, evening twilight, blue twilight, and white twilight. The 4th time the cover was taken off, there appeared a young baby girl, and she began to move. The girl was laid out with white bead. She was put with immortal and happiness, for that is what she moves with. Every 4 days she grew larger. The baby girl was cared for by the gods, and in 4 days she was able to walk. In 4 more days she was larger, and on the 3rd and 4th days larger yet. On the last 4 days she became 16 years of age. At this time she had a puberty ceremony, and Talking God sang over her all night. Everyone stayed awake all night for the ceremony called Kina Elstroktie. Songs were sung over her by Talking God. For his singing he received the center of the sweet corn bread ground by White Bead Woman. The grinding of the corn signified that the girl was now able to produce. The center of the cornbread meant that the girl actually gave that which came from within, the center of the cornbread. The girl cut out the center of the cornmeal and gave it to Talking God. Talking God, or the medicine man nowadays, told her that he would give her a blessing. The medicine man got nothing but the center of the cornbread for blessing the girl with healthy, strong children. At the bottom and top of the cake there were feathers crossed and feathers around the edges. The live, eagle feathers faced the 4 directions. The people were told never to use feathers, but they were to use corn husks. The cake itself, which was round, represented the earth. The center of the cake represented the sun. There is a prayer said, "You bless yourself with long life," in reference to Talking God, calling God, and all of the others during the ceremony. Cake from the east, south, west, north, and the center is put upon the body. You bless yourself, your garden, or anything you own, for the cake represents these things. All of this represents sacredness by the gods, for White Bead Woman is godliness herself. The sun was represented in the corn pollen for the place he takes in relationship to White Bead Woman. All of the gods had pollen, and pollen comes from the corn which is being ground by White Bead Woman. After the ceremony, White Bead Woman worked around the hogan. One day she was out getting wood in a sunny place and made a bundle of the sticks she had gathered. At midday the sun saw her and wanted her for his wife. White Bead Woman tried to put the bundle of sticks on her back 4 times, but it would not move. She looked back, and there was a young man holding onto her bundle. She had intercourse with this man, who was the sun, and went back to her hogan. According to this, women do as they do nowadays. First man and first woman helped make the sun God, so he has to do the same things as they. Even trees have intercourse and get little trees. On top of the trading post is a root which is about to have a baby. F.G. According to White Bead Woman, at that time, women have intercourse with unknown men and the babies have unknown fathers. F.G. said they should be court-martialed. Some wrens had seen White Bead Woman and the sun. As the birds gambled with their moccasins that night, they sang a song making fun of her. These little birds outside the hogan began to sing songs about what the White Bead Woman had done. They sang, "I am just lying against my bundle of wood. I am just straddling my legs, and the sun had intercourse with me." When first woman heard this, she said, "What have you done? They are making fun out of you." White Bead Woman was silent and just bowed her head. The next morning when she went to get water, she was still hot, so she wanted to have intercourse with the water, not a god, but water. From a ledge was dripping water, so she spread her legs underneath it. When she had as much as she wanted, she took her water bottle covered with pitch home. She did not think there was anyone around, but the birds saw her and made fun of her again. That night the birds gambled and sang the same song, "I am just lying against my bundle of wood." I am just straddling my legs, and water had intercourse with me. Nowadays you must catch people in the act, but someone always sees what happens. After 4 days had passed, the sun came again. First man started to put boughs of trees in a circle, with the opening facing the east. Again the sun and White Bead Woman had intercourse, and within 9 days she was pregnant. In 9 more days she gave birth to twins, their fathers being the sun and the water. The twins were gods, yet they were made by the gods. They were created and given the power to destroy the evil upon the earth. They learned songs, and these gave them power. They are like us, and so medicine men just learn in the same way. If you have power, you can give songs and prayers in mid-spring or mid-summer, or at any time they are not supposed to take place. In order to have power, one just has to know the name of Supreme Sacred Wind. There is a song which is sung when a woman is about to have a baby nowadays. This is the song that is used before the baby is born, when the rope for the woman is being put up in the hogan for the woman to hold onto. Prenatal song. Dawn boy found a baby. To the east he found a baby. He came up to it. He talked to the baby. The baby listened. The baby was eager to be born. The dawn boy has a happy voice. Immortal and happiness found his son. Sun ray girl found a baby. To the south she found a baby. She came up to it. She talked to the baby. The baby listened. The baby was eager to be born. The sun ray girl has a happy voice. Immortal and happiness found her baby. Yellow dawn boy found a baby. To the west he found a baby. He came up to it. He talked to the baby. The baby listened. The baby was eager to be born. The yellow dawn boy has a happy voice. Immortal and happiness found his baby. North star girl found a baby. To the north she found a baby. She came up to it. She talked to the baby. The baby listened. The baby was eager to be born. The North Star girl has a happy voice. Immortal and happiness found her baby. Sometimes after the baby is born, the afterbirth does not come out. If this happens, the woman should not sit against the fire, or with her back against the fire, for the afterbirth would grow against her backbone. When this happens, a mano is sprinkled with pollen, and the stomach of the woman is rolled with it until the afterbirth comes out. This is the song that is used at this time. Postnatal song. He is moving, he is moving, he is moving, he is moving. He is moving, he is moving, he is moving, he is moving. Out at the edge of the hole he moves up, in the middle of first man's property house. Black grinding stone moving. This will slip out with all kinds of water. It has got a good path from the front. It has got a good path from behind. It has a good path from underneath. It has a good path from above. Everything he has in the property hogan. Anything on the wall, on the floor, on top of anything on the floor. All around is good. He is moving, he is moving, he is moving, he is moving. The eagles and giants were bad at this time, so White Bead Woman, for so she had been named from the beginning, dug a hole in the center of the hogan. She put her children inside and covered them over with sticks and dirt. If she saw someone coming, she put the children in the hole, covered it up, and sat on it. The twins hid, for they were small, and could not protect themselves from the evil beings. The wind people also took care of the twins. They were hidden so they would not be discovered by the evil beings. The giant always came around White Bead Woman, and once he saw the tracks of the twins in the earth. He asked, "Whose tracks are these?" White Bead Woman said, "I made those with my hands," and the giant believed her. It was decided that the twins were too big, and should be sent somewhere else before they were discovered. The first war twin was sent to Navajo Mountain, and the second war twin was put at Cross or Roaring Water, L'(X'(O') near Mt. Taylor. They remained here until they grew up. Even the war twins have colors associated with them: black, yellow, blue, and white. Navajo Mountain was decorated with evergreen trees, while the mountain itself was surrounded with rocks having but one opening. When a giant tried to capture one of the twins, it began to storm, and the twins were protected. The second twin was raised under the water. The first twin traveled by sun ray, and the second twin by the rainbow. The boys stayed at this place for 60 days. The twins were trained in a special way in their youth to become very strong. While it was still dark in the morning, they would run to the east to meet the coming dawn. Now the young boys are trained the same way. White Bead Woman taught the boys songs to sing to the dawn. Here is a song they sang. War I song my son, run a race. You were born to destroy the evil monsters. My son, run a race. You have black flint shoes. My son, run a race. You have black flint stockings. My son, run a race. You have black flint clothing. My son, run a race. You have a live flint heart inside you. My son, run a race. You have a black flint cap. My son, run a race. You have 2 straight lightning arrows with you. My son, run a race. You have 2 lightning arrows with you. That makes 4 coming out of your body. My son, run a race. Towards the east is the Dawn Mountain. Run around that mountain once. My son, run a race. You were made for the destroying of all the evil, and made for the protection of the other properties. My son, run a race. You were made for the protection of the other properties. My son, run a race. You were made for the protection of other chips of stone. You were made for different kinds of horses. My son, run a race. You were made for different kinds of sheep. My son, run a race. You are everlastingly feared one. My son, run a race. My son, run a race. You were made for evil monsters. My son, run a race. My son, run a race. My son, run a race. The twins also ran to meet the twilight, and also sang songs while doing this. Even now an old man will get up early in the morning and sing, I am the dawn boy, give me strength, all my desires. One can call the gods by name, so he will recognize the god wanted. You do not need to give the secret name of the god, for the god will recognize you anyway. The twins are prayed to for protection from evil by the earth people or surface people. One day the twins were playing, and they came to a canyon facing the north, which is now Paiute Canyon. They could not get across when a worm came along and stretched his body across the canyon. It was a shooting worm, Wo-nal-chili, and it later became Rainbow Bridge. According to this bridge, all bridges have been made in the same way. The worm did this himself, for he had power. After they were almost grown, both twins lived at Navajo Mountain. They ran around Navajo Mountain 4 times from the east to the west, and from the south to the north. When they had finished, they were full grown. While the children had been going around the mountain, White Bead Woman had made a bow out of some wood oak, and an arrow out of some other wood greasewood. The string for the bow was made out of yucca or soapweed. When the twins were small, White Bead Woman had made a bow out of cedar with yucca for the string. They used sticks they found as they played for the arrows. This is why the medicine man always uses bows and arrows in some of the ceremonies for curing. These mean power for the twins used them to destroy evil. When they went back to their mother at Sihachako-li, they said, Who is our father? They knew, for the wind had told them, yet they wanted to see what White Bead Woman would say. Their mother said, You don't have a father. Still, they wanted to find out who their father was, so they asked again. White Bead Woman finally said, Your father is whittled sour cactus, plain sour cactus, and petrified wood. Of course, she was just joking, and the boys asked again. The 3rd time she said the same. The 4th time she told them. Afterwards, the boys went out to play with their bows and arrows. All at once they disappeared, leaving only 4 footprints facing towards the east to their father's house. They knew they would get power from their father to destroy the evil upon the earth. As they traveled along, they met a man, Spider-Man. The twins came to a little hole in the ground. They looked down through the hole and saw Spider-Man. He said, Come in, my grandchildren. The twins wondered how they were going to get through such a small hole, and said, It is too small. The Spider-Man blew the hole larger, and the twins went down into the hole. The Spider-Man then gave each of them a live spider web plume, Nashe Zinabikos. He also gave them certain warnings about what their father might do to them. He told them the sun would do things to them to see if they were truly his sons, and because he did not want children. The Spider-Man told them what would happen, and how to protect themselves while on the trip to the house of the sun. He told them about canes, and about the great numbers of skeletons and bones from people who had been killed by it. These canes would cut up the people and leave only a red blood spot behind. The twins traveled on and met a tobacco worm, the kind that vomits if you put your finger on it, called Begochiddy. The worm asked them, "Where are you heading for, my grandchildren?" The twins answered, "We are going to our father." "Your father is hard to reach, but you may use my secret when you reach him. He kills people with his tobacco. When he asks you to smoke his tobacco, use this secret. If you don't, he will kill you too with that tobacco." Again the worm said, "Here is a tobacco bag and pipe with the sun's design upon one side and the moon's design on the other. There is some tobacco inside. Take some of this vomit and put it in your mouth when your father tries to give you tobacco to smoke. If you use this, you won't be poisoned and killed." The boys traveled on until they reached a rock canyon which most people could not get across. They used the first twins' bow for a bridge and passed over the canyon. They traveled on their way and soon came to a bunch of cutting canes called dēchī. The canes were weaving back and forth. The second twin took his feather and touched the end of the canes with it. He blew on the feather, and the canes turned into long waving feathers instead of the cutting canes. The boys went on safely, but soon came to a large pile of sand that was like a mountain range. This they also had been told about and how to handle. This sand would wait until people had gone through it, and then would fly up into the air and come down and smother the person. There were also many bones from victims here, too. When the boys got to the edge of the sand, the first twin put his feather on the sand, and it began to rain. The rain came down and packed the sand until the twins could walk across it without any harm. Even though they used their feathers, they kept them with them for future use. At last they arrived at their father's house. The house was made out of turquoise and was very beautiful. Outside of the house were 4 beings protecting it from harm. In front of it was the bear and big snake. On top of the house were the thunder god and the wind person. Physically, they were the same as Earth's surface people. These beings protected the house of the sun against all strangers. The boys had made up a song with the help of White Bead Woman. They used this song to put these gods asleep, so they would not be harmed by these guardians of the sun. They also used the secret name of the Spider-Man. There are 4 colors associated with the bear, big snake, thunder, and lightning. To the east is a black bear. To the south is a gray or blue bear. To the west a yellow bear, and to the north is a white bear. So it is also with the big snake, thunder, and lightning. At last the twins entered the house, and there they found an old woman. F.G. does not know who this woman was. She said, "What are you doing here? You don't belong here." The boys said, "We are looking for our father. He is around here somewhere." The woman became very angry, and said she had thought she was the only woman that the sun had. It was at this time that jealousy first started. If this had not happened, there would be no jealousy today. This is also the reason the Navajo believe it is all right to have more than one wife. The woman later forgave the boys and did not blame them for what their father did. Now she was afraid of what the sun would try to do to them. The sun hated children and killed almost all of his own children. He raised too many, and so he tried to get rid of some of them. Soon they heard the sound of the sun coming. Upon the walls there were rolled same clouds. These clouds were rolled up like scrolls, and the one on the east was colored black. The one south was blue. The one to the west was yellow, and the one to the north was a white cloud. The old woman tried to hide the twins by rolling them inside the white cloud. After she did this, she placed the cloud back on the wall. Just as she had finished, the sun came in. When he came in, there were lightning and arrow points all over his body to protect him from any evil, harm, or enemy. He said, "Has there been anyone here recently?" His wife answered no. The sun said, "I saw someone come in here." He asked 4 times, and then she finally said, yes, there were 2 boys here looking for their father. The woman accused the son of fooling around and having another wife and children. She was quite bitter about his having another wife and children. The son now began to search for the boys. He took down the black cloud to see if the boys were there. He went to the south and west sides, taking down the yellow and blue clouds. Finally, in the white cloud, he found the boys. He said, I hope it has come true, that these were his boys. I will see if they are my children. He thought that he would try to kill them and see if they were really his sons. The son did not want them, and he hoped to prove them not to be his sons. When he took the twins down from the wall, the son had lightning coming out of his fingers, feet, head, and body. Against the walls were great arrowheads of the 4 different colors. Whenever the son wanted to get rid of anybody, he just threw them against these. He grabbed each of the boys and threw them against the black points. The wind was there, and he helped the boys, for he blew against them, and they were not killed. The holy wind helped the boys, for he knew what they were after, and so he helped them out. No one told him to do this, he just helped. The son took each of the boys and threw them against all of the other points, but they still lived. For the next test, the son kept something special. On the floor in each side or direction was a huge round log of white bead, yellow oyster shell, turquoise, and jet. The pestle was round and made of all of these materials. In the floor was a huge hole, and he tried to throw the boys into it. When they were inside the hole, the son tried to smash them up using the log like a mortar and pestle. The wind blew against the pestle, so it could not smash the twins. At last the son once more gave up trying to kill the twins. Their father asked, "Where is your tobacco? There should be smoking while such things are going on." The twins pulled out their tobacco bag and pipe, which had the design of the sun and moon upon it. The son said, "Well, our tobacco pipes and bags are the same and just alike." The twins cheated their father and exchanged their pipe and bag for his, and he did not know about it. The son pulled out the twins' pipe and tobacco, and filled up the pipe and gave it to the twins, saying, "Here, smoke." The twins started to smoke, and each puffed 4 times, and the tobacco was all gone. Before they smoked, the twins put the gift of the worm in their mouths. After the tobacco was all burned up, they asked for some more. The son filled the pipe up 3 more times, and still the boys were not killed. They said, "We wish to smoke a little more. How would you like to smoke our tobacco?" The son said no, but the twins asked him 3 more times. At last he said, "All right, I will smoke if you light the pipe with the sun fire." The sun fire was the sun itself, which was on the east wall. The twins agreed and said, "We will." They filled up the pipe and lit it with the sun fire. The son started to puff on the pipe when he passed out and rolled over. The old lady, the son's wife, said, "Fix my husband for me." She offered many things to the twins, but they didn't want the things she offered. They said, "We don't want the things you offer. What about yourself?" "All right," she said, and each of the boys had intercourse with his stepmother. After they had finished, the twins put the secret given to them by the worm into the son's mouth, and he jumped up. The son then said, "I must have passed out with sweat. Like in a sweat hogan, I see there is a story here." He had seen in his dreams that the twins were his sons. He called out the door, and the daughter of the son came inside. The son asked her, "Is your grandfather out there?" When the daughter answered yes, the son said, "Tell him to come in." Into the son's house came the moon. When he saw the boys, he said, "Hello, grandsons. Now I will eat the brains of my grandsons." The moon was just joking with his grandsons. The son said, "Go and get the sweat bath ready for your grandsons." The moon went outside again and took the boys with him. He took them outside to help them, as he knew what the sun was going to do. The moon began to build a fire to be used on the sweat hogan. There are 2 types of sweat hogans, one after the emergence and the other at the sun's house. If a man were to go to war, the man uses the sun's house to sing and pray to protect himself. The reason the sun's house was used was because the sun tried to kill the twins, but didn't. The Earth people used sweat hogans in the opposite way for protection.